So many people have said to me, oh, thank you so much. You know, you don't have a vaccine injured child. You do this, you know, when you shouldn't, you don't even have to be doing this. And I have to tell you, I don't want to live in a country where select corporations call all the shots involved in our life, where they control what we do, what we eat, how we sleep, if we need to take medication, if we're acting out. You know, they are right now in so much, they have so much power that I don't want to live in a country like that. This is not, you know, I am not doing this altruistically. I'm doing this because I'm invested in staying in this country and staying in a country that values freedom, that values democracy. This is not democracy at work. This is money at work.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so what Brandy said is true. There's something called Healthy People 2020. It was written a few years ago. The goal of Healthy People 2020 is to get vaccine rates up to 98%. It has nothing to do with health outcomes. I've been testifying in many states, and the pro side for these vaccine bills care nothing about health outcomes. It's all about vaccine rates. This is what the insane medical community is about. It's about getting these vaccine rates up, irregardless of outcomes. So we have a bill of this whole Healthy People 2020 that does recommend 136 vaccines in an adult life, not including the annual flu shot. But the Department of Transportation was key in writing this program. Think about that for 1 minute. This is not just California's fight. This is the nation's fight. This is the world's fight. Do you guys realize what's going on? You can't get into Bolivia unless you've had a yellow fever vaccine. It's not even a communicable disease. You cannot get in the country. Okay? We've got, you know, this is what's going on. There's an app that the CDC had the University of Iowa make. It's an app. It was designed in 2012, and it tracks people and their vaccines and their boosters. This is for you. This isn't for your kids. If pharma and food get their way, we will never know what we're eating. We won't be able to track outcomes. We would never be able to track outcomes for vaccines because you have to, in order to understand what vaccines do, you must compare disease rates in the unvaccinated. And if women are vaccinated while pregnant, there is no such thing as an unvaccinated person on the planet. Okay? Right now, the CDC is recommending the flu shot to all pregnant women. They are considered class B and C drugs, which means not safe for pregnancy, not tested for safety in pregnancy. They say so on the inserts. The flu shot, the multi-dose vial has thimerosal. I wrote the American Academy of Obstetrics and Gynecology and said, you know, why aren't you recommending at least a flu shot without thimerosal? Well, we don't believe thimerosal to be unsafe. So I sent back a photocopy of the vial, which has a skull and crossbones, and the MSDS sheet that says it is a mutagen for mammalian somatic cells, which means causes birth defects. Hello? That's what that means. It's a mutagen. And I sent that back to them and said, what about this? Well, our scientists don't believe that's a problem. Okay. Now we've got the DPT. Now the DPT is being pushed on pregnant women in their third trimester. And what are they banking the safety study on? The CDC published a study, and some of you who follow me know where I'm going with this. They published a study that said the miscarriage rate is the same as women who've never had the DPT. The miscarriage rate is 17.5%. Well, that's only the miscarriage rate of first trimester pregnancies. The miscarriage rate in the third trimester is 0.5%. And you give the DPT in the third trimester, which means those women had a miscarriage rate of 17.5%. Admittedly, that is over 36 times greater risk of miscarrying.
That's crazy.
Well, we'll only kill your child in utero. We certainly wouldn't want them to die post utero. I mean, this is a problem. You know, and I have to tell you that most doctors are being brainwashed. They are starting young. The AMA, a week before the assembly meeting that I flew out for last week, the AMA had 180-degree reversed their decision on their opinions about exemptions. In February, their statement was that people are allowed a religious or philosophical or medical exemption, including doctors. And then they 180-degree reversed it the week before our assembly meeting in Sacramento. And the day before that meeting, the AMA came out with a statement that said any doctor, any licensed medical doctor that publicly dissents from their views on anything would be liable for an ethical breach and having their license revoked. Now, they do not rule us, but they are funded by all the pharma lobbyists. Basically, they're just a front for pharma lobby. So doctors are being silenced. They are being silenced. They're being threatened. As you know, there's been doctors killed in the last few weeks. We don't really understand what's going on and what that's about, but they're certainly being silenced. This isn't going to stop. We have a huge fight. This is not just California's fight. This is the world's fight. We have a huge fight. We are up against an organization that has billions of dollars in their pocket and the best propaganda writers. We have to stay vigilant. We have to stay on it. Education is going to be the most important thing here. We can't sue this away. They'll tie us up in courts. We do need the lawsuits. They're important. You know, I do think that Kaiser Permanente needs to be held responsible for a criminal behavior, for their criminal experimenting, and I'm going to repeat what they did. In 1991, Kaiser Permanente and the CDC were conducting an experiment on inner city African and Hispanic children, giving them an experimental MMR at 5 months of age in 10 to 500 times the dose allowable to see what would happen. They were doing this with Johns Hopkins in West Africa and Haiti, and there were many deaths, and they stopped it. But we all know those families must have been paid off. There's been no lawsuits. They should have had a criminal investigation. Why isn't there a criminal investigation? It could still happen. There's no statute of limitations on this. We need to know what happened to those children. They're 25 now. What do they look like? Are they alive? Are they autistic? What's going on? We need to know. We can't let them off the hook. We have to stay vigilant. This is a long-term fight. I'm in it with you guys, but we need to educate everyone we can, whenever we can, and stay on it and not be frightened. We can't let them scare us out of this. They cannot censor all of us. They can't kill all of us. Thank you so much.